Looking at this scene, you might ask the same questions that I'm asking myself of, why did we bring our RV to the ice storm? Why are we not down in Florida? And what are we doing with the RV right now? Why am I plugging in generators if we're not staying in the RV right now? All really good questions. We're on day 4 of no power, and we found a lot of our RV gear and even the RV itself to be extremely helpful. So today I'm going to share with you what I've learned, what I've used to help us weather the storm. So, funny thing is, we were actually in Florida when we saw the ice storm getting predicted, and we thought we should probably get back and help family. That's why we came up, because a portion of our emergency preparedness is built into the RV, and they were predicting ice, freezing temperature, power outages, and just a general destruction from the weight of the ice, which didn't hit everywhere, but definitely hit us. And I'm very glad that we did have the equipment that we did have. So now, to start off, I guess it'd be best to start with the obvious, which is the generators that we have for RVing. Without having power, having the generators on hand have done the bulk of the heavy lifting for the power that we have needed. We do have solar, a couple of solar arrays and even one on the RV, and that does come into play, but even on a day like today where it's kind of sunny and partially cloudy, we're not really getting a whole lot. So looking at the numbers right now, you can see how sunny it is, and we're pulling in around 270 watts right now from the solar. But with the generators going, that's bringing in a constant power that we can rely on as long as we have fuel for it. I had a little scare this morning. One of them wasn't firing up, and I thought, man, if I don't have the full use of the generators, it's really going to hurt our system. So it made me think that I want a backup generator to our backup generator. So ones that I use for the RV and ones that I leave at the house, or at least one larger one that I leave at the house. I know Champion has a larger 4,000 watt generator, about the same size as one of these, and that would be a huge help. I've had my eye on this generator for a while just because it's so small with such a high output, and this storm might be the thing that pushes me over the edge to do it. Now, you might be asking the question of why we're running the generators at the RV when we're not staying in the RV through the storm, and it's a strategy that I've come up with that's maximized the amount of power that we can get out of the generators during the day. So let me explain. So now, because our generators are intended for RVing use, when we tie them together, we have a 30 amp plug on there, like typically that you would see around RVing. And I don't have any other way to use that at the house, and so I was using the generators individually, but tying them together gave me a big advantage to maximize the use of the generators while they were running. So quick disclaimer, this isn't the ideal setup, but this is a great way to leverage what we have for what we need. And what we had was we have a small all-in-one setup inside the house to be able to run the fridge, the freezer, and the well, but it doesn't have a whole lot of capacity. It's a very modest little setup. We also had a portable power station that we're able to use, so you can make coffee off it, you could charge things up. It was a good point of use little power station. But on the RV, we have a battery bank that we're able to recharge that modest system inside the house. And this is one of the areas where I really like the Victron inverter setup because it gives us several abilities that really shined in this very specific situation. Now, the first thing that it accomplished that all other inverters would be able to do this is it gave us a longer runtime for that system inside. Charging up that system while we're using it and not having to nurse a generator all night long, making sure that it was full on fuel and not having any problems. The part that really shined for me is when I needed to pull out the generators in the morning and get everything charged up again for the next day. I was able to dial in exactly what those generators are able to produce and not overload the generators, because if I tried to charge everything up at once and all the things that we wanted to power, it would shut everything down. It would be completely overloaded. But because Victron, you can set the limit of what it's going to draw, it can use the power. So I can bring in a power station into here and I can charge it up. I can start charging the system at the house, and if there's any surplus or anything left over, it can go into the battery bank for the RV. So I'm maximizing the amount of power that I'm getting while those generators are running. I'm not wasting that time while they're running. So using the RV as a distribution point and a buffer in order to get the maximum amount out of the generators to deliver it to where we needed it was a strategy that really helped us out. So it did those three big electrical things for me. It helped me distribute the power, it helped me regulate the power, and it also gave me extra battery capacity when I needed it, which was three big functions that helped us out and made it a lot easier. Oh, and it was collecting solar when the sun was poking out and starting to melt the ice off the roof of this. It was nice being able to collect that as well and kind of go into the overall system. So was it ideal? No. Do I have a list of things that I want to change in case this ever happens again? Absolutely. But it was nice to see the equipment that I had really helping me out in that situation, making the most of the time with the fuel and the time of the generators running. Because the generators by themselves aren't as capable as all the equipment working together in unison. It's a bit of a strange way to do it, but it ended up working out. Okay, now let's move on past the power benefits that we had from the RV. There was a lot of other stuff that we used in the RV. So the propane that we had on board, that gave us an additional 2 30-pound tanks of propane that we were able to use for running the generators and for heat. So for heat, we also have a backup Mr. Buddy. It's not something that we use often or hardly ever, but in an emergency situation, that's something nice to have on hand. And we're using a propane sensor to take a page out of the RVing playbook and a carbon monoxide detector to make sure we're staying safe using that heater. I am keeping a list of things that I do want to keep on hand after going through this, and one of them is a better heater. I want to go with the Olympian heater. I believe eTrailer carries that. I'm going to put links down in the description to everything that we use through this and the list of things that I do want to get for future, because it's better to have the equipment on hand and not get it just before the storm hits. I also want to pick up some extra lanterns to be able to have on hand. We have some for the RV that came in great. Even those string lights, rather than having the string lights through the house, I put them in a little jar and use it almost like a little lamp next to the bed. It was something that I used every day. I would like to upgrade to the Devos Light Ranger, where you can telescope that light up. You could light up an entire room. You could use it at a campsite. You could use it as a work light. I see that as something that you can use in a lot of different situations. Or even a small solar collapsible light. So that way it's easy to keep on the RV, but it's going to give you some light inside at night and be able to recharge when that sun is coming out. So 2 solid options for extra light in a situation like this. We also had Starlink on hand as a backup internet source for RV. We had it on that paused plan. So when we lost internet as well, we were able to pull that out and still have communication because our cell service doesn't work here at the property. So another piece of equipment that we had for RVing that worked out really good for an emergency backup. Now this next one is interesting because it's more of a system that you use for RVing the majority of the time, winterizing your RV. We have family in the area and we thought it'd be better if we all came to one house for the storm, which it worked out really well. And we were basically winterized their house like you would an RV, with the RV antifreeze into the toilets, P-traps, all those things, and blowing out the lines, getting that ready in case the power went out at their house and we didn't want any of those pipes to freeze and have more costly repairs. So kind of a skill that we've used for RVing and take that to emergency prep for our family's house. It made it a lot easier having the entire family all under one roof, so that way we could kind of pull the resources and work together through the storm and not have to worry about more repairs at the other house. But compiling all these things that we used from the RV to be able to get through the storm, having the battery bank on the RV for extra power storage, having solar on the top of it to harvest some of that solar during the day, and using that entire system as a generator distribution point was really helpful. The propane, the extra heaters, the backup internet, and the lights that we were able to use for the house, it really made RVing help us get through this storm. So we were able to use it for that and still have it for RVing. So just some thoughts and ways that we used our gear beyond just RVing. So I think that's going to do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope that it helped you out in some way, maybe prepping for future storms. Do it now before that storm is going to hit and all this stuff is gone at the stores. So anyways, that's going to do it for today. So as always, if we don't see you on the road, hopefully we will. See you next video. Take care. No denying it. It's absolutely beautiful. Cold, but beautiful.